My experience is that working with other people, other Buddhists, people trying to develop themselves, is very beneficial to all of us. Quite clearly I've seen that.
We spend half our waking lives nearly working, so obviously a significant way you can extend your Buddhist life into more and more of your everyday life is to work with other Buddhists. You have to live, of course, so it's a way of supporting yourself, but also a way of bringing your practice into everyday life, which you can't really do if you work with non-Buddhists because they don't understand what you're trying to do.
I envelop them with clouds of incense.
I like living in a community, being around people all day long. You rub up against each other, but having the objective work at hand to do, in some ways I think helps that and enhances that. So you've got these objective things, you've got the needs of the team, and you've got your own personal development within that, and all those three have to be in some ways married and brought together.
While human nature has hardly changed since Buddhism began 2,500 years ago, the world about us has changed enormously. Working Buddhists can refer to traditional teachings on right livelihood and ethics, though in a changed world, much of what it means to practice right livelihood is still being discovered, especially where Buddhists work together. So how can Buddhists change their work from being a mere necessity to a spiritually transforming process? For years, Sangaraja worked at the London Buddhist Centre. Now his day starts with a practice of meditation before the hour's journey to work at a shopping centre.
The three communities on the London Buddhist Centre site all meet together in the mornings to practice. You do that together, and then after an hour of practice you go off for breakfast. You've got half an hour before you have to go out and catch the tube.
Windhorse trading was created in 1980 near the new London Buddhist Centre to support the work of the Friends of the Western Buddhist Order.
We developed the wholesale business for 3 or 4 years, and then we started opening shops, partly because we wanted to expand and partly because we wanted to help other FWBO centres start businesses.
Before Windhorse trading, the movement founded by Bhante Sangharakshita received only occasional donations or dharma.
Half the profits of each shop go to the local Buddhist centre, and half go into the general dana pool, which we distribute mainly by giving it to Bhante or supporting things which Bhante has asked us to support.
It's been worked out that each individual Windhorse evolution worker earned about £120 a week for the movement, which I thought was remarkable, and I felt very good about that.
Most Buddhist businesses, which are to be found in publishing, healthcare, food and the arts, are small. Windhorse Trading, however, has over 170 people working for it and its shops.
We give it nicknames, this shop, the Frontier Post, Fort Apache, all in relationship to the London Buddhist Centre.
One centimetre, please.
So I've got a stamp. Thank you. We do support each other well, and I suppose you have to because of the environment we're in.
Someone?
Yeah, that's yours. It's quite difficult to start a business starting from scratch. So we came up with the idea of opening shops because we had a certain amount of expertise and a certain amount of capital. So we were able to present or offer a package.
Some of yours came with the Ipswich lorry and some with the Bethnal Green.
Oh, right.
And now we've got, I think, 17 or 18 shops, all attached to FWBO centres.
I've been surprised at how strong the guys' practices are here. In fact, it makes you sort of galvanise that. And particularly the salute and the shine in the morning and the salute and the shine at the end. One day I was left on my own just to shut the shop up, but I still did the transference of merits and self-surrender because it felt like that's what we do here at the shop, keeping the tradition, keeping that sort of momentum going, even though I was on my own.
Okay.
I've made a lot of friends in Cambridge.
There everyone. Not quite sure how many more there are to come then. Not too bad.
There are too many people that I would like to spend time with. That's more the difficulty in a place like Cambridge. So yes, working with people, it just happens quite naturally.
Move the candlesticks and the pots there.
We do try and work together. It's very easy to get into a pattern of doing things on your own because it's quicker. But we do try and work in pairs as much as we can, so we just get to know each other really well.
Do you need a little bag for this?
Where I came from was a very small Sangha, so coming to a place where so many people were committed and working full time was stunning, really. I think one of the first things I said when I came here was I was just in public all the time. Not literally necessarily, but you know, like having to interact with the team and interact with customers and just be honest about how I felt sort of all the time. So that was really useful and quite difficult.
In Germany, where I came from, was a very small centre, so in some ways I didn't really know what Sangha was because there weren't any other mitras. And it was just very new, and now I feel like it's a bit like a family, big family, just lots of people and lots of friends. It's just great to work and live as friends together when we're all practicing. It's just very supportive. Sometimes I sit here and do paperwork, cash up, and sometimes I unpack, sometimes I do new displays. Sometimes I sit behind the counter and serve customers or be just there for customers. Sometimes, yeah, we have Right Livelihood meetings, so we've got just team time. So it's a big variety. It's not just being specialized in one thing, and also learning to be confident in different areas.
I don't see myself as a manager, but I seem to have ended up as that's part of my role. I'm a shop visitor as well, so I visit a couple of other shops. So again, I get a comparison with how other shops work. In the shop itself, I do the ordering and I'm responsible for the Right Livelihood meetings. So just befriending the team. When I've talked with men in the business, they've said, well, you know, the most experienced person is the manager. And of course you do it that way. But actually we've found in our team that it works really well as soon as a woman's been through her first few months probationary period. To give her a go at managing, and then through doing that you get much more of a sense of what needs to happen and how to organise things and get confident through that, so it works very well.
They're actually given quite a lot of responsibility quite early on, but obviously that confidence is not just a worldly confidence, it's a confidence in who they are, sort of standing up, being able to disagree with a team of people, working with people of very different age groups, different backgrounds in the shop. You know, we're quite mixed nationalities as well. Breaks down quite a lot of one's fixed view of oneself. I've really seen many women who've come through, stayed a few years, some stayed really quite long term. But even the people who come quite short term for our Christmas periods, changing, growing and developing, becoming much more confident, and really sort of taking the Buddhist life on in a very full-time way.
We look towards who's got the experience, the knowledge, and sometimes you just think, well, yeah, okay, we'll go with your view instead of mine. And sometimes you don't want to do that, but sometimes you do. And that intensity, I think, I've learned an awful lot about myself, just learning to cooperate, really.
175.
Thank you very much. I enjoy it very much, and especially there's a couple of us on the till. If it gets busy, just sort of one taking the money, one wrapping. And it can get quite focused and concentrated.
They go and have their lunch and all that, and out 1 hour time.
I soon become aware of how I'm feeling if I start talking, engaging with public.
So we gone here.
We're very close to the concourse, with a few feet, and sometimes people stop and look in, and I'll just say good afternoon or good morning, and they'll say, there you go. You look in for anything particular. That might just tip them into the shop. Whereas if you haven't quite said anything, they might, they might say, oh, I'm looking for this, and have you got this? And you might say, well, yeah, no, yes or no. And just treating people with courtesy and friendliness and with metta. And I'm sure part of that is bringing them back, as well as some of the goods.
The staff is very nice, very helpful, very welcoming. Whenever you need something and advice, they always advise you. Yeah, because I bought a present for a friend here once, and I actually asked for, I don't know whether it was this gentleman here, and yes, I was told that it was the right one to get, and the person was delighted with it. So there we are.
Most stock for the Evolution shops comes from Windhorse Trading's Cambridge warehouse. The retail team advises on business and right livelihood issues, as well as overseeing shop refits.
They had a new shop front, which gave them a bigger door, which is very important for sort of get more people into the shop. All the units were changed to introduce a system of units that's more flexible. You can move the shelves up and down and things and get more stock out onto them. They had an old grey carpet that was been used for years and years, was ripped out, and a new artificial wooden floor was put down, which is the sort of new, the up-to-date Evolution look.
Well, customers are commenting very positively that it looks much better, it looks much more spacious. It's nicer to work in as well.
It was interesting, they used to come in and they say, you've enlarged this shop, and we hadn't. It was just, the way it looked was just much more pleasing.
A lot of people like the stock, but also they just enjoy the service, I think.
It's quite a lot bigger now. There's an office taken out and the front has been shifted forwards. Often we're doing 44–50% higher than we did last year, when retail on a whole is dropping.
Within the ordinary warehouse walls, a peaceful, purposeful atmosphere is created with the help of rituals, devotional imagery, and some silence. People generally work within small teams, moving through periods of activity and quiet, individual and collective effort, high and low technology. With its aim of fundraising for the wider FWBO, Windhorse practices dana or generosity. In this spirit of take what you need and give what you can, everyone lives simply but well.
There's a basic support package which people like me get, and then if you have any extra needs, then they're taken into account. I get the basic support of a single man who doesn't have any other responsibilities. I get the same £35 pocket money that everybody else gets. I live in the same sort of community as everybody else. I get regrettably few perks.
You have a community to live in, you don't have to pay rent. All your food bills, electricity bills and so on are taken care of. You also get an expenditure of £35 a week, so that's just pocket money basically. So financially it's actually quite secure and quite comfortable. Spiritually also it's very helpful in quite a few ways. One way, for example, is just the fact that we start work at 9:30 in the morning, so you have time to have a good meditation session before you go to work in the morning, and you can do that every day. So it does allow you to have a good settled meditation practice, which is really important, I find. Also, there's a generous retreat allowance. You can go on retreat for 6 weeks a year, plus a large number of weekend events.
Flying in the 10 directions.
Martin heads a team that takes in the goods as they come from the port.
I work as a team leader in the warehouse. So on the one hand I do help with the physical work, I help unload containers and locate the stock onto the shelves, but I'm also organising the team. I'm thinking about how to organise meetings and how to delegate responsibility and how to develop a training programme for the whole team. So there's quite a lot of creative thought goes into my work too, but there's also the physical side, which I find quite important.
There are literally thousands of items of stock and thousands of customers. Keeping track of them all is the task for the programmers.
We send the shops an email that includes details of what we've currently got in stock, and then they use this program that we've written to look at that, and that allows them to select things, see what's in stock, shows them how many we've got and what quantities they're allowed to order them in, and then they just type in the numbers, and it keeps track of how much they've ordered, how much it's worth, and in the end they just send the email back to us.
While the chefs use their traditional tools, computer terminals help the warehouse men keep track of the orders.
Pickers and packers, they'll go to the terminal and they'll print off a picking note, and when they've picked it, they'll update it with what's in stock and print off the delivery note.
Keeping up good public relations rests squarely with the customer services team.
There can be quite a large volume of phone calls. You never know what's going to come down that telephone line. You know, as somebody said, it could be a very irate customer, or it could be Banty. So you just don't know. There are lots of added responsibilities and things which I wouldn't have to take into consideration before. If somebody had told me that time, oh, you'll be doing this and this and this and this in the future, and I think I would have run away, basically. I didn't think I would have been capable of doing half of what I've done.
Windhorse Trading, good morning.
I think it's certainly what made me more of a man, really, and got me ordained in the end.
Andrew, into that, yeah, just a minute.
In terms of preparing for ordination, it's been very helpful because it's close to Padmaloka, which is the men's retreat centre where the ordination team live. So it's very easy to visit Padmaloka, and therefore you get to know the ordination team members much more easily and much more frequently.
I'm going to clear that first.
There's quite an international mix of people from all different countries, from India, from Mexico, from America, and Australia, from all parts of the world really. I know the Sangha now is a worldwide movement, whereas before it was just a local, perhaps national movement. We have periods of silence at work. The main reason we're doing that, it's still an experiment we're working with, but we're doing it to try and become more aware of the quality of our speech when we're not in silence, so that we're not just making a noise and distracting each other, we're actually using speech meaningfully at work. It also gives you an opportunity to engage with the work quite fully, so that it can be seen as a mindfulness practice too.
Heard that word of some famous man.
What kind of criteria do the buyers have when they commission or choose goods coming from abroad?
I think the first thing we do when we're buying abroad actually is look for goods that are going to be able to sell over here. I mean, that's our primary lookout. We're also as ethical as we can be. Obviously, we don't buy leather goods or things with feathers or shells or anything like that in them.
We have lots of manufacturers in Bali, so like we can get them to do just about anything really, like the little glass boxes or wooden candle stands or mosaics, like our perennial wind chimes, rubber ducks and so on. So I design all that. Stripes are meant to be the infant. Because I'm in a team and I'm practicing, I can sort of bring in that side of me which loves clothes and colour and trends and making money for the Dharma. Yeah, I like the sort of idea of making money. I like the idea of success, of being good at things. I'm motivated by that, of just improving things and of improving our products because there's so much potential.
There are several residential communities around Cambridge, and though not everybody lives in one, they are for many a good way to live.
Things I've learned being here. Greater degree of discipline, clarity of vision, more clarity of vision, greater understanding of myself, Buddhism, the Dharma that is, and other people.
In such good conditions for growth, it's not surprising friendships flourish.
Most of my friends are now at Windhorse trading, and some of them I've known for all the time I've been here. We came here together and we've been living here and working together for 9 years, so that's a very strong basis for friendship.
I think I had 1 or 2 close friends over in Holland, but over here I've got at least half a dozen very good, very solid friendships with people who are fully committed to what they're doing. So I do feel things have improved quite a lot. Because of the situation where we live in men's communities and work together in single-sex teams, it just means that you're more intensively in contact with men, which for me can be very challenging because I don't always find it easy. Sometimes it feels easier to go and talk to women, especially if you're upset about something or whatever. But actually opening up to men is quite a strong practice, but a very rewarding one. and that's what helps you develop friendships.
Though in the world outside there is grief.
A couple of the very experienced order members concern themselves less with practical matters and more with the spiritual needs of those working at Windhorse Trading.
It's quite good, I think, that people have someone who's a little bit outside their direct cooler, their direct group of work, who they can talk things through. But, you know, if there's possibly difficulties, frictions between people, or looking at ways they can work more harmoniously together, something like that, I suppose I can quite often come in and just be another ear to listen to it. But it's not all problem orientated by any means. I get a lot of inspiration from that myself. And then after 6 months, you know, they become a friend. And I like that.
May merit gained in my acting thus go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. My personality throughout my existences, my possessions, and my merits in all three ways, I give up without regard to myself, for the benefit of all beings.
Right, what's actually on it to a bunch of different
That's lovely. Thank you.
I don't feel I can actually sum up what we're doing. I think a book is needed, and perhaps hopefully before too long, a book should be written by a number of people who've been in Windhorse for a number of years. But I feel we're still experimenting all the time. We're experimenting. We have to earn our livelihood. The state's not going to support us. Other Buddhists aren't going to support us. And for me, the aspect of giving dana to other parts of the movement is a very valuable part.
I personally would like to see the FWBO developing, I'm sure a lot of us feel this, over the next few years, a few more different businesses, because we can't, we can appeal to a wide range of people, but it's not total. And it would be good if there was a bit more of a variety, which is one of the things we'd like to help, because we do have a certain amount of capital now and a little bit of expertise. So if we can offer that to other bits of the FWBO that want to start businesses, then we'd like to do so.
I often felt beforehand I was in touch with my vision at times and then lose touch with it, and it would go back and forward or up and down. But since coming to Windhorse, I feel it's steadily progressed. I feel steadily I've developed more confidence in spiritual practice, in work as a spiritual practice, and in the Sangha generally, because it's been a big Sangha situation. And yeah, I feel that's just, I've got the experience now to know that Buddhism works as a practice. If you practice it daily, year in, year out, then it will improve the quality of your life. I've definitely experienced that.
I just love what I'm doing intensely. I mean, it combines so many aspects of myself, and I feel like I'm making such a difference. And I can see so much potential. It's only limited by time and energy in a way, so I want to stay here for a long time. Yeah.
Sangha Bhante has said that it is possible to gain insight working in this sort of situations, taking on responsibility, working sort of day to day, and occasionally you get crucial situations where you have to really think on your feet and do or die, so to speak.
Gate gate pargate, parasangate bodhi swaha. Gate pargate, parasangate bodhi swaha.